Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending this workshop prep hour. And if you are attending it, thank you very much for purchasing a ticket and spending your day with me next week on the 19th of November, where we are going to have a LinkedIn workshop. And the LinkedIn workshop is titled Close Clients with LinkedIn. So I wanted for everyone just to get together. Hello, Jesse. We can get together. I've created some forms for you to prepare, and we do have a replay happening right now. It would be awesome if you could prepare on these forms, but I do know that life is quite busy. These forms are very easy to fill in, and if you haven't been able to, or perhaps you purchased like your ticket to attend closer to the dates, then not to worry. What we're going to do is we're going to do more of an overview on the day of the workshop, but going through the forms ahead of time, whether you fill it out or just reading through, would be beneficial. I will go through the reasons why, because it's not just about filling out the form, but this workshop, like I mentioned, close clients with LinkedIn. I don't know. I'm pretending I'm looking at my watch. It is a few more weeks before the end of the month. And the reason why I wanted to have this workshop was that I know that many entrepreneurs like myself, we're looking at the calendar, we're looking at our goals. Did we make our goals? Well, what can we do to tighten up the process? So, for instance, like I have different client avatars, but I have chosen to speak to only two. So, when I say I'm speaking to only two, I'm speaking to the individuals who are going to be interested in Content Lab or they're going to be interested in my LinkedIn Accelerator. So, for you, this is going to be about who are the individuals that you can speak to in these last weeks of the year so that whenever you share a LinkedIn newsletter, which by the way, your LinkedIn newsletter, you're going to be able to create multiple pieces of content from it. So then when you create those pieces of content, you are still going to be speaking to those individuals. And then these individuals that you are speaking to, what are the offers that you are sharing to them? So then that way you're going to be top of mind. They're going to say, yes, this person is speaking to me and that offer is a perfect fit. And then these LinkedIn newsletters, not only are they multiple pieces of content, but I am all about working like extremely smart now. We are in the world of AI. If you have noticed when you go to Google, you look up something, and what happens is that the AI portion shows up first, and then maybe ads, and then the best kinds of posts. And I was doing listening to a really interesting podcast. I listened to the Social Media Examiner, and they were talking about the no-click research. So what's happening is that people are going into that AI part. They're learning about, maybe they're reading, not maybe, they're going to read about you because that's what we want from these newsletters. And then they're not going to scroll below. So we want to find ways to get into that section. So that's what it's all about. So first of all, I'm going to share links if you don't have it already, but I've emailed these links excuse me, I've emailed these links to you already. And let me see if I can pull them. Well, does everybody have those links? Because then I just won't go get them. Okay. All right. So yeah, no worries about I'm just glad that like everyone is being able to make it. So I'm gonna go straight to the presentation. I will take questions later. So whatever questions that you have, let me know after. Okay. Okay, I don't quite have this ready. Well, can everyone see this screen that says workshop prep hour or not really? Okay, let me try this again.
It was visible. It just had the notes thing at the side.
Okay, I have no
I thought
notes
for a
here.
second, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so let's do this again. That content only. Okay, so I did practice having it capture the whole screen, but that's not working for me right now. So I'm just going to move forward. So you can see the slide that says workshop prep hour. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. So I talked about why we're here. We're taking an hour to go over the preparation. I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer to answer questions. Again, the workshop is Close Clients with LinkedIn. I'll be sending some additional reminders, but I'm going to go through like what it is that you're going to need and some of the tasks that you're going to be doing. Now, these might be a little bit small, but it is on your worksheet. So what I did here was, I talked about like the reason why we are doing these LinkedIn newsletters. I'm sorry that this is a little bit small. So the reason why we're doing these LinkedIn newsletters is that there is definitely a difference between doing a LinkedIn newsletter and how a LinkedIn newsletter works for you versus a regular post. So I won't go through all of this, but I have across the top regular post LinkedIn newsletter, and then in the last column, why newsletters win. Though I want to let you know that I'm not saying that we should never share content on LinkedIn, but with your LinkedIn newsletters, I'm going to go through like why they win and why they win more. So they are guaranteed eyes on your content. If you have never if you have never shared a LinkedIn newsletter, well, your first LinkedIn newsletter, when you share it out to the world, every single one of your connections, they will be notified. So I think back to when I did my first LinkedIn newsletter. I had about 1,400 connections, and you don't really remember who you're connected to. Well, 1,400 people, they got that first notification. So I want to say that I know that many people here, they have, for instance, shared a LinkedIn article. LinkedIn articles are similar. However, your LinkedIn newsletter, when you share this newsletter and you're still going to use that article feature, but you got to pick some different tabs. When you publish that first LinkedIn newsletter, everybody who you're connected to, they're going to know that you published a LinkedIn newsletter. So there's your guaranteed visibility. And then after that, every time you publish a new newsletter under your LinkedIn newsletter, it will stay under the notifications for those that you are connected with or those that you are or those people who are following you. So that stays on the notification longer. Evergreen reach. So not only has more staying power on LinkedIn, but more people will find it on Google or Bing, whatever search engine that they are using. And I did mention before hitting record or not, I did mention about the AI portion. It can start to show up there. I'm going to go over more over like during our session next week, but I'll just breeze through here a little bit more. You can do some touch points. So with your LinkedIn article, what's different between your LinkedIn article and having subscribers on your LinkedIn newsletter is that you don't have subscribers on a LinkedIn article. You don't have subscribers on a post. You see who's liked things, but next week I'm going to share with you how you can leverage those individuals who have subscribed to your post. And then this type of content, it does build authority and you can schedule it. Though you are scheduling it, you still have to do the work. So if you're somebody who chooses to schedule and share a LinkedIn newsletter bi-weekly, you still got to do it. So for instance, I believe my LinkedIn newsletter is scheduled to go out bi-weekly, but before I started recording, I mentioned that my VA, she's been getting these LinkedIn newsletters she sees that they're published, but I've been doing them weekly just because I'm having like a lot of fun with them. And there's going to be some really cool ways that you can track your results. So that's just an overview. I advise that you take a look at it and get really inspired and even more excited to go to the session. Now, in these worksheets that I sent to you, we want to get in the first portion, we want to be able to like nail who your target audience is. So I mentioned that, we're in the last few weeks of the year, and the goal for these LinkedIn newsletters is who are the top 1 to 2 people. I kind of waver on the one. I think there's definitely two. And maybe there could be a three, but then things could be a little bit muddy. And perhaps, now your message is being stretched. Now, for instance, like for Content Lab, I know that there could be, two more types of individuals. So I'm looking at my accelerator and Content Lab. And maybe there are more people that I can speak to, but I want my newsletter to be very clear. Like when I talk about what my audience is going through, I want to be very clear. I want them to read it and say, "Wow, how did Dee know that this is what I'm going through?" So we are going to be like these worksheets are going to help you to do more of a deep dive into like who is your target audience, and then you might have many offers. So this is help you as well to get very clear about what are the offers that you want to share. So when we're talking about your offers, like I have about 4 to 5 offers. I want to get very clear and share my 2 offers. And and because with my LinkedIn newsletters and then the multiple pieces of content that's going to come out of that, I want people to know that I'm speaking to them and this is the offer that, that newsletter spoke about. And I know that this is the perfect offer so that when they book a call, they're going to want to find out more about that particular offer. Now, this is the first part of the worksheet where I would love for you to choose your top 2 ideal clients. So we have ideal client number 1, ideal client number 2. If you can convince me about number 3, you can. But let's start with 1 and 2. We want to pinpoint like what is their industry, what industry are they in, and what is their role. So on LinkedIn, you can look for people based on their titles. Now, I think to somebody who I know who says that she speaks to moms. Now, on LinkedIn, you can't necessarily find out if somebody is a parent, but thinking about how much does your offer cost? What kind of problem does this offer solve? Um, and when we think about the cost, because at the end of the day, we are selling a service, a product in terms of this offer, maybe this offer for somebody to join could be $100 a month, or perhaps this offer is $2,000 for the month. Now, this is where you're going to take a look for that client avatar. And then what role would that person who is a parent, for instance, what role would they be in? Would they be in middle management? Would they be a vice president? And think about like, is your offer location specific? I'm going to use a really quick example here. I used to work with a dog owner, and she had people like based off of like looking on her LinkedIn and her social media. She had people following her from different provinces, different states, and she only served an area of Durham Region, Ontario, which was the area she focused on was Whitby, Ajax. She was thinking about Pickering and Oshawa. So, in terms of being location specific, that's something that you want to think about because at the workshop, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into how to search for those types of individuals. So, what are the pain points that they're going through? Like, list about 3. What are the daily situations that they are experiencing? Maybe you are working with somebody who feels very stuck. Perhaps they feel, I know that there's some individuals here on the call. Maybe you're working with individuals who are feeling very stuck in their career that they're in. Or perhaps you work with individuals who they are working from home, but their home does not feel like a great place to be in, meaning that it has clutter. There's still a lot of things in the home from 25 years ago, and you want them to like not only feel like they love living in this home, but this is also where they work. So what are the different types of situations that they are experiencing? What is it that they think they need? Now, I'm going to use an example for the person who has a lot of clutter in their home, for instance. You would think, like that person might think, I just need somebody to organize. But that's what they think that they need, and maybe they do need to bring in a professional organizer, but they might not know where to start. So, what is it that they think they need? What is it that they think they know how to solve their problems? But what is it, like in the next line, what is it that they actually need that you provide? As an example, I remember that my other car used to be very much well lived in when I used to drive to my 9 to 5. My car that I have now, it is in great condition on the inside because I work from home and I'm not like doing a whole bunch of like different things and things like that, like bringing things into my vehicle. But I think back to like before the pandemic when I used to work in this 9 to 5 and my car was just messy, the footprints, the mud, you name it. And I thought to myself, I just need somebody to detail my car. But now I'm thinking, where do I go to get this car detailed? But what I really needed, because when I was thinking about where do I go to get this car detailed, where will I find the time? How do I search for somebody? Where is the best place to go, etc. Well, what I could have done was, well, what I really needed was somebody who could come to my home. So that car detailer, for instance, somebody who does detail the car, um, I'm thinking about a detailer that I follow online, and I follow them online. And what this person does is that they do more. They know your car needs to be clean, but they also come to your home and they do that beautiful, like they call it that white glove treatment. They're making sure that things are being vacuumed, things are being thrown out, you name it. And that's what I possibly really needed, just to know that I didn't have to be there. I didn't have to bring my laptop to kill some time. I just needed someone else. So what is it that they think they need? And what is it that they actually need that you provide? And then what are the keywords that they might search to look for somebody who does what it is that you do? It would be lovely if they knew your name and possibly that they would know your name. However, like if they think that they need a new website, what are the keywords that they are going to put into Google? Are they going to, so like knowing your client avatar, you can do some research there. So this is how you're going to do a deep dive into who your ideal clients are, one of two. And one of the things that I would recommend is that once you've got a list of your client avatar, you can take this list and ask ChatGPT, like, you know what? This is what I've created for who my client avatar is. Can you give me some more information? But what I really love to ask ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever it is that you could use, is what are the keywords that they might search for or use? So the reason why we're doing this exercise is that often we think we already know who our target audience is. And I'm sure you do. I know who my target audience is. However, things have been occurring. Things are always occurring. And right now we're in a different way of life where we've got the economy and these individuals, they need you more than ever. However, Now, with everything that is happening, we need to ensure that they're crystal clear on what it is that we do, how it is that we can help them, and this is what's happening right now, and that's okay. People are just thinking twice about where they are spending their money, but people are spending their money. I'm going to say this really quick. Yesterday, I woke up and I found out about some glass bear that Starbucks is selling, a barista. Okay. I didn't know about it. I saw a post first thing in the morning. I was like, I don't know what this is about. And then later on, I was in a conversation with a friend, and she was talking about this glass barista that is about $40 Canadian. It's being sold across North America and elsewhere in the world. It's a $40 glass. And I shouldn't say this because some people on this call might like this barista. So please excuse me. So there is this glass barista and it is refillable. It's $40. So it's glass. So for me, that doesn't work. I'm a little bit clumsy. I don't work well with glass. The person who I was speaking to about it, we thought about how it reminded us of the honey jars at the supermarket. But here's what's happening is that there is a market for these $40 glass baristas. People are buying it to save as a souvenir. People might be buying it to refill. People are going to Starbucks. They are becoming argumentative. They're having arguments with the staff if these baristas have run out. There have been lineups for these glass baristas as well. They are sold out. You can also now find these glass baristas on Amazon selling for $500, and people are purchasing them. Lastly, after reading an article, in Texas, the police were called to break up an argument. But what I'm trying to say is that people are buying. We just have to be very clear. And Starbucks has amazing marketing and branding. And this is what we are diving into with the LinkedIn newsletters. Now, here are some examples of LinkedIn newsletters and how they've worked for me. They've also worked for my clients as well. And this is what we want to have for you as well. So the LinkedIn newsletters, when somebody is looking something up, for instance, this here is on Google. We want those LinkedIn newsletters to show up. So I have it circled in yellow. And you can let me know in the chat if you would like me to send you like this slide here, for instance, but I did a post on how landscapers can use LinkedIn to find clients. And I decided to do this LinkedIn newsletter because three people who are landscape contractors reached out to me. And they reached out to me in 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? There is something here because they're using LinkedIn, but they're not using LinkedIn. They're just showing up. So I decided to write a LinkedIn newsletter about it. When I wrote this newsletter, I did a deep dive as to who these individuals are, what type of keywords are they looking for, and then I wrote my LinkedIn newsletter. A month and a half later, I looked for it on Google. And what I did was I looked for it using keywords only, not using my name. I was really excited. However, I do know that if you are looking for content that you have created, then what tends to happen is that Google might be like using your settings. So what I did was I reached out to a few friends in Ontario and I asked them to use various keywords. And what happened was that they did find me. So for instance, on the left-hand side, in the circle there, you'll see some like profile pictures. If you are following me on LinkedIn, you know I've got a bright yellow background. So I am one of those profile pictures that came up in the AI overview. So I was really excited about that. And then the circle in the middle, um, somebody else looked for particular keywords And then there is my LinkedIn post that is in the middle with the banner. And I know it's my LinkedIn post because it says why landscape contractors stay visible. And there's my banner. And then on the right-hand side, we see it again. Somebody else sent it to me, and we know it's someone else because there's a black background too, and she found it too. So not only was my LinkedIn newsletter found on Google after the AI part, it was also found in the AI section. And I take these LinkedIn newsletters and then I will do some edits on it, and then I will share it as a blog post. So I do additional edits on it because we don't want to confuse Google. However, what's happening now is that not only is my LinkedIn newsletter coming up, my blog post is also coming up as well. And I was really excited to find that lately when on my form, when somebody comes to my website to book a call, I do have a section which I recommend everybody has. How did you find me? And I say, how did you find me? And like, because maybe I'd like to thank them. And in the last couple of weeks, people have said that they have found me on Google. So this is what a LinkedIn newsletter can do for you. So that's the first part of the worksheet that I sent to you. Here is a screenshot of another part of your worksheet. And this here is like identifying your aligned offer. So this is the product or service that your newsletter is going to quietly lead to. Now, if you go into LinkedIn and you take a look at my LinkedIn newsletter, you're going to see in the last paragraph, I always have a call to action and it's always linked to something. So it's either linked to my LinkedIn Accelerator or it is linked to Content Lab as an example. And I am trying to stay on the straight and narrow to ensure that it's always going to be leading there. So for ideal client number one and for ideal client number two, what is the offer? What is the service? What is the product? What are the results? Or what are the transformations? So list out like it's a small space, but when you copy it, you're going to go to your file, you'll copy it, you'll save it, it's going to expand. So write in everything there in terms of like, what are the wonderful results? What are the wonderful transformations that your ideal client is going to experience? And then like just have some fun with like what does your call to action look like? So is your call to action going to be to book a call? Is your call to action going to be to join my workshop? Is your call to action going to be to join me every single week? So think about what that call to action is and how you make that call to action might look a little bit different after you've created your LinkedIn newsletter because it all has to fit in. And once you have this as well, before we get to the workshop, please, by all means, continue to share content on LinkedIn, or if you haven't, that's okay. But wherever you are sharing content, be sure to like just practice having a call to action at the end. So, when you've created all of this, think about like what is your angle going to be? So, for instance, I have an example for a newsletter angle. This is for the described audience who is going through this or desires that. And I will show you how to get this specific outcome. So finish off that sentence, and then like that is who you are, that is the type of client that you help, and these are the pain points that they are going through. So an example for women consultants ready to raise their rates and attract clients who respect their time. Or another one is for people, first leaders who are tired of your team running on empty. I share ways to build engagement without burnout. So, what are your offers and how is it that you help? Now, once you have all of this, what I would love beforehand is for you to like launch your LinkedIn newsletter series. This part is very easy. I'm going to go to an area where I can read this even better. And here are some examples that I have here of your LinkedIn newsletter series. Now, your LinkedIn series would be like, what is the name of your LinkedIn newsletter? So I have a LinkedIn newsletter called The Visibility Playbook, but every week I speak about something that is going to be very much aligned with that audience. So just think of it as this. What is the name of the TV show? And then, so that is what your LinkedIn is going to be. However, every single week when there's a different topic in that TV show, that's going to be your weekly newsletter. So here are some examples here. I have mine, the Visibility Playbook to the left-hand side. And then we have somebody here and her newsletter is called Leading with Wellness. And what is this TV show about? So, not each episode, but what is the TV show about? So, Dancing with the Stars. That's the name of the show. However, we know that every week it is there are celebrities who are dancing. However, one week will be about Halloween and it's going to be all themed. The following week it's Disney night. Obviously, you know I watch Dancing with the Stars. So we know that Dancing with the Stars and we know like what it is about. So leading with wellness on the left-hand side. For this individual's newsletter, it is your guide to professional and personal well-being. And for me, the Visibility Playbook, bold practical strategies to turn LinkedIn into a client getting machine. So think about like what will your newsletter be about? So when I open this up, one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to do for step one, choosing your series name. So your title, it should tell your readers what they'll get and why it matters. And you can so you can use a sample format. So think about like what your expertise is and what is it that your readers are going to gain. So my readers, they're going to gain the playbook on visibility. Or the person up to the top left, her name is Alyssa, and she is going to share with corporates and organizations how their teams can lead with wellness. So there are some examples there. So fool around with that. And then step two will be s- pick a static theme. So every week, Dancing with the Stars is about celebrities that are dancing. And the static theme for Leading with Wellness is your guide to professional and personal well-being. My static theme is bold, practical strategies to turn LinkedIn into a client generating machine. So you're going to think about what your theme is. It could be like behind the scenes lessons from building something. I have a couple of examples there, or it could be how people in your target audience can achieve a particular result. So when you come to the session, think about like what is your static theme, or you could even just have this prepared. I'm going to share with you some more information. And then choosing your newsletter profile image. So my LinkedIn newsletter profile, it is a square. And it is different from my profile picture because I want it to stand out. Now, here is some things that you might want to know if you're thinking about using your logo. Using your logo, it's a good idea. It comes in very handy if you're going to run a LinkedIn newsletter from your company page. If you use a logo for your LinkedIn newsletter for your profile, the only thing is that when there is a logo only, you will get less subscribers. But if people see a picture of you, then you will get more. So you can use a logo, or I know individuals where they have the title. So it's not their logo, but it's just the title. You can even go with that. So I would recommend if you're not going to use your picture, you can go with just the title. So for instance, for me, it wouldn't be my picture, but it would say in bold letters and nice branding, the visibility playbook. So those are some examples of why it is you want to use a specific type of logo. Now, that finishes off one of the worksheets, and I sent out two worksheets. So the second worksheet is filling out your LinkedIn newsletter template. So now that you've completed everything on the form, and I say everything like it's a lot, but I would say, I think you could do it over half an hour, and you could fill out that template, and then you go over to this template here. And it is a LinkedIn newsletter template. It's a fillable version, and I call it the Thought Leadership Edition. Thought Leadership Edition because we are writing about what it is our audience really cares about. We're writing about what is keeping them up at night or what problems that they wish that they could solve. And so it's going to be it will be thought leadership. So what we want to do is like I have the instructions there. You want to make sure that you complete the first work part of the worksheet, which is nail your newsletter and your target audience first. And then you're going to use these notes and you're going to put it into this template. So after you fill out the template, I have it all there. So this part here that I'm sharing at the top, that is the title in yellow. You're going to fill out the template. And once you fill out the template, you can totally say, great, I have this now. I've got the base part, and I'm going to write my LinkedIn newsletter. Or now that you've really customized this template for you, you can take this and you can run it through. You could run this polished draft or the template through ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you want to use. It's going to be yours. And even though you run it through, I ask that everybody still go through and clean it up. If you don't use a lot of emojis, make sure that the emojis you don't have a lot there. I tend to say no emojis, no M dashes, for instance. And here's the prompt to turn this into a polished 400 word LinkedIn newsletter in my voice. So you will lead ChatGPT as to what type of voice that you have. Is it professional? Is it warm? Is it sassy? Um, what are those words that you have? And it's optional. You can add another descriptive and written like a thought leadership blog post. After you get that version, review it. You're going to review the version it creates. You want to save it to a separate document, and you can make some final tweaks, or you can make the final tweaks at the workshop. However, I'm asking for you to, if you have the time, to run it through and then bring that document to the workshop, and then we can make some final tweaks. We can ask questions. We're going to be sitting together in a room. We can get some feedback to each other. So that is what it's going to be step by step to create your LinkedIn newsletter and then also create a theme for your LinkedIn newsletter. So here are some other examples here. With your LinkedIn, by the way, this LinkedIn newsletter, like I talked about the profile, but once you've created this LinkedIn newsletter, you're going to need a banner. So here's some information for you. I use Canva. So whatever tool that you use, your banner would be 1920 by 1080. So like a blog post banner. And your banner will have your title or whatever picture you want to have in it, and you will bring that. So again, you could bring the banner with you just because we don't want to be caught up in the whole art process, and that can be tweaked as well. So here we have the importance of wellness at work. We have Alyssa's picture in there. And what's at the bottom, by the way, that actually came from the LinkedIn post. The banner is the actual graphic. Then we have mine at the bottom. This one here was pretty popular. How practitioners can use LinkedIn to reach clients with benefits. I get really inspired. So I've been doing a series on focusing on individuals who are thinking about using LinkedIn, but they're invisible on it. and they're really relying on the other platforms, but they want to reach someone else, or they're just so used to going like running that hamster wheel, doing the same thing and not seeing the results. So I wanted to speak to that. And in the template, by the way, one of the parts that we have in the template is where you have some empathy, where it's like, I understand why they're not here. Maybe they don't have a lot of time, or maybe they're doing this. So then that way, when you do have your LinkedIn newsletter, they're going to read that and they're going to say, oh my gosh, she knows that I don't have a lot of time. So this is something that is in the template. So there's my banner there. And what's at the bottom is just like captured from the actual LinkedIn post. And at the top left, at the top right hand corner, my client. I asked her, so she does some of her own content and then I tweak it as we go. And I said, please test this. So last week she tested my format, she tested the template, and I guided her like we when we're going to write anything, we're going to write about what it is that your audience is thinking about. So then they're going to want to read it, it's going to answer, and therefore when they are looking on Google or any other type of search engine, we want your LinkedIn newsletter to come up. And then of course, we're going to work towards this LinkedIn newsletter becoming multiple types of content. So this went up today on my client's social media on LinkedIn, and it's about how to turn the last 2 months into your most profitable yet. So this went up today, and we also we did some research about what her audience is actually searching on Google. So that is the presentation. That is talking about the two worksheets that I have shared to everyone. I'm going to send this out as a replay if anyone wants to, like at any time, they might want to watch it. And when I send it out as a replay, I'm also going to resend the links to the documents so that um, you'll be able to save it. So you'll go to File. I believe you're going to copy it. And if you're using Workspace as an example, you can save it to a particular folder and you can use it. I want to say just one more thing. This is neither here nor there, but last week I wrote a post and I wrote a post and the post was the unsexy part of marketing, um, something to that. And so my banner had the word unsexy, but at the bottom part here where it captures what it says for LinkedIn, I wrote something else. So I switched out the word unsexy for something else, only because I want the algorithm to pick things up. And I didn't know if LinkedIn was going to say, oh, you've used the word sexy. We're not going to share this out to your audience. So if you are scrolling through my LinkedIn, that's something that I do. Or sometimes what I do as well is I will ensure that the keywords go into that LinkedIn title, but I might have a different title in my banner as well because I want it to catch the eye. So that is that. I'm going to leave the slides here in case anybody wants me to scroll back, and I'm going to see if I can take a look at the chat. And if I can't, I'm just going to stop sharing the screen. Oh, here I am. Okay. Okay, so looking at the chat, I'm seeing if there's any questions. Yes, Brooke, I will send a copy of the slides. I will share it as a link and I'll ensure that everybody can take a look. So Jesse asked, do you do both a LinkedIn newsletter and an email newsletter? I do. I create multiple pieces of content. So one of the things that I do with my LinkedIn newsletter is I create two LinkedIn posts or two social media posts, and I create 1 to 2 newsletters for my email list. I have tried doing three, and when I do three, I find that things get watered down, one becomes shorter than the other and they sound the same. So I'll talk about like some of the prompts that you can use so that you are able to get two pieces of posts or two emails that you can send out to your email list. And like one of the prompts that I have there is please ensure that they sound completely different from each other, but they've got the same goals. So there's that. Let's see. Not clear what a newsletter is. Can I use content from my blog? Thank you for this question. Or articles and use it for a newsletter. Now, I did think about saying to everyone, if you've got a blog post from your website, bring it, bring it with you. Now, the only thing is that your blog post that you've written, does it speak exactly to the audience that the two ideal clients that you want to speak to in these last few weeks of December? Also, the blog posts that you might think about using from your website or an article that maybe you've written elsewhere, does it speak to what are the pain points or what it is that they're actually looking for? Again, I mentioned that we are in a different time, or maybe these individuals are going through the same things. For instance, like I've been working with a client who's a financial planner. She works with high net worth clients, and they are still high net worth. They have portfolios of like six figures, seven figures. But they're going through something different now where they have seen, like, due to the market, their stocks have taken a bit of a dive. We've had the elections in the US, we've got tariffs and things like that. So, has her content, like, if she did a blog post months before, or if she did a blog post a year before, is that going to be timely right now? So, that's the only thing I would think about. Like, if you've got a blog post, then you can use it. I would recommend using it if it is timely, or if you want to use it as a base and then you can tweak it or more than tweak it, like that is your base, but still you want to go through you want to go through these steps. So the LinkedIn newsletter, what it is I know it could be a little bit confusing. So we think about sending a newsletter to our email list. This is a newsletter that is longer form content, and it's about, I mentioned about 400 words, or perhaps it's about 2,300 characters, not including spaces. These are all of the things I put into ChatGPT, and it's long form because you're able to you'll be able to like talk about what it is that you do, the pain points that they go through. You'll be able to share some tips with them as well. And then in that, you'll be able to share like how it is that you can help. So when you go long form, you'll be able to give everybody like a lot of value. And it's a LinkedIn newsletter that is on LinkedIn. And you get subscribers to that LinkedIn newsletter. And you'll also be able to see, which is what I'll be sharing with you at the workshop. We'll be able to go through like what the analytics mean and what it is that you can do with these subscribers. So you do not have access to their email list, but I'm going to talk to you next week, Wednesday, about how it is that you can start some conversations with the people that you see who are your subscribers. And then you'll be able to create some content from there and send it out to your email list. So I hope that was helpful um, to answer that question. And any recommendations for a B2B newsletter? My audience would be HR leaders or people leaders. So your newsletter, for instance, um, your newsletters between now and the end of the year would be for this B2B client, and perhaps like the two people who fall under B2B. So for you, it would be Jody, a newsletter that is for leaders and people leaders. So you're speaking to this audience. So I'm wondering, Jody, if these individuals are going through like similar pain points, Or if you're going to speak to pain points for this HR leader, are the people leaders also going through that as well? I feel like they would be. And then in there, you might be able to share some strategic keywords. So, for instance, in my landscape contractor, LinkedIn newsletter, I also shared things like construction, or I shared some other keywords in there because I'm hoping that that LinkedIn newsletter would come up as well. So other people who are working within the whole like landscape um, or anybody who is like a contractor as well. So think about that. And let me see if there's any other questions. You said it shows up on Google. Does the newsletter end up on our Google profile? And can we add it to our Google profile? So it will show up on Google if you've got the right keywords. And when somebody is looking for what it is that you do or the problem that you solve, and you have spoken about it or you've written about it in your newsletter. Now, what I do with my LinkedIn newsletter is that I do create a different post from it. Or what I do with my LinkedIn newsletter is my VA, what she does is she takes that LinkedIn newsletter, she adds it to my Google business, and then we link it back to LinkedIn, the LinkedIn posts. Or when we create like multiple posts, um, we create like a blog post for my website. We might instead Google Business. We will share that it as a post in the Google Business profile, link it back to the website. So when somebody goes to my blog post on my website, I also end it with a call to action, and there's a link for people to go to book a call as well. So you can use, when you create these multiple pieces of content, you can use it anywhere. Like I create LinkedIn posts, and sometimes they might end up on my Instagram as well or on my Facebook page. It's like additional content as well. So I hope that answered that. I'm going to stop share. We have a few minutes and I'm totally fine to go over. Does anyone have any other questions? Yes, Anya.
So the newbie in me went on your site, and I'm trying to find where can I open up your newsletter?
On my website?
No, in LinkedIn.
Right. Okay. So when you go to my LinkedIn profile, scroll down halfway. And when you scroll down, come to an area called activity.
Okay.
And when you see the activity, it's going to list out, and you'll see this for anybody on LinkedIn. You'll see posts, comments. So when you see posts and you tap on posts, you'll see all my posts. If you see comments, you'll see, and you click on that, it's going to show you everybody that I've made comments to, like, Anya, I can't wait to go to your workshop. All those comments there. And when you go across, you're going to see a button called newsletter. So when you tap on that, you'll see all of my LinkedIn newsletters.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a quick question. I know Dee, you and I were talking about this before, but I have a Substack, I have a blog, I have a newsletter, email newsletter, and then LinkedIn newsletter, right? So I have a lot of different places, and I want to make sure that I'm not getting bogged down in all of the different stuff, but I'm also providing value to people reading my content. So I guess next week we could figure out what to do with all four places.
Yeah, and I will say this, like about, the goal is to work smart and repurpose. So let's say you wanted to use that LinkedIn newsletter on your Substack. You have
Mhm.
to edit it and write it out a little bit differently. And we can definitely talk about how to use ChatGPT. One of my clients who she specializes in hospice and palliative care. We spoke about this yesterday, and she's really excited. So we're taking her blog posts. So we're working backwards. We're taking her blog posts and then we run it through AI. But because it talks about medical, she still has to review it. And we put in some things like in there as well. And it's going to show up as a LinkedIn newsletter on her company page. So the reason why we want to do that is that when Google is pulling it up, we want to ensure that Google doesn't like get confused or it won't come up at all.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So are you putting on then her company page a tab where it's like blogs or newsletters, then it goes straight to LinkedIn? Is that where it goes?
It goes on her LinkedIn company page. It'll
Oh,
go up
LinkedIn
on her
company. Okay.
LinkedIn company page, and there'll be like a tab there for newsletters. I
Okay.
think it's we're good when it gets shared, I'll share it with everybody here, like via email. But she doesn't share her LinkedIn newsletters on her profile
Personal.
because
Okay.
she wants her company page to show up as a resource so that
Right.
she's using her company page. So there's not a lot of content on her profile, but there's a lot of content. And she's got like several locations. So now what's happening is that her team is mentioning the page, and it
Right.
ends up that the team is, whenever they've mentioned, like a team member mentions that they've done something, then we're able to grab what they've done and then share it on the company page, right?
Company.
And put it in
Got it.
there as
Okay.
third page, third person.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you. I'm gonna run, but I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. So I'm here for a couple more minutes, if any, or more, if anyone has any other questions. If not, I will ensure that we have the replay, but let me go quiet in case anyone has a question. Yes, Anya.
Sorry. So I saw now on your site where it is your newsletters. Then I tapped into mine and I don't see the newsletter. I just see articles that I've put in. So am I going back to the numbers game here?
So you don't see it because you've never published a newsletter yet.
Okay.
So yeah, so when you are going to like create that theme, I'll make sure like I'll probably send out a couple of emails, but I talked about like creating your theme and things like that. You can go ahead and create your theme and have your profile picture. And even when you've done that, it's still not going to show up. It will only show up once you've actually published the full-on LinkedIn newsletter. And then
Right.
you'll see a tab.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
This was fantastic, Dee. I
Oh,
just
thank
really want to
you.
be, so grateful for everything that you provided today. It really allowed me to even expand on my ideas and thoughts and obviously prepare for next week. So thank you so much.
Yes, and I'll be checking in as always. Brooke, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to check. So you don't have to launch a newsletter under your personal profile. You can launch it under the company page.
You can do it under your company page, but here's the thing.
Yep.
So my client, we do the company page because her company page is percolating now. Like there's so much action there. But if you have a company page and it's pretty quiet, like my company page, we're now sharing content all the time. Still
Yeah,
kind of quiet. So I want action to happen from my profile page.
I get you.
So
That's where the followers are.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
what
I
I
get you.
do is I reshare to my company page. But for
Okay.
that client, there's so much happening on her page.
Perfect. Thank you, my darling. I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too. FIFA, do you have a question?
Um, how often do you share articles versus newsletters?
I no longer share articles.
Oh, okay, okay. So
No
just
more articles. So I used to share articles. I no longer pick the article feature. The reason why is that you can't get subscribers. We want the subscribers so we can like engage with them. And also, we want to stay as long as possible in the notification. So when somebody opens up their phone, we want it to say FIFA for the longest time. Then they come back an hour later, oh, FIFA's still there again. They won't say it like that, but your newsletter will give you like longer visibility.
cool. Okay,
Yes.
that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, I'm also going to upload this into Content Lab as well. And yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I will keep in touch as well. You can ask questions in Content Lab too, or anyone else who has a question. And because I'm going to upload this to YouTube as unlisted, and look out for more emails. And I will also be like reaching out about dietary preferences. So everybody have a really great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.